you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Living the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream.
What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you from beautiful sunny San Diego, and I'm here with our beautiful co-host, Jamie Martinez.
What's up, guys?
And we're back with some more questions from the Living the Dream Team listeners, but before we get to those questions, we're going to go over some current events as well as our wins and struggles over the last week. So, what are some current events going on? Well, we just got back from a trip to Washington State. Our friend Sav had her 30th birthday. Shout outs to Sav. Happy birthday. We stayed at her mom's new house on Lake Sawyer. It was absolutely beautiful. How'd you like it?
Oh my gosh. So beautiful, so peaceful. I mean, every moment of it was lovely.
Yeah, and I forget, I love the ocean, and I love to go out to the ocean and decompress and de-stress, and it's nice to hear the sounds of the waves, but sitting, just watching the lake as the sun goes down, it's calm, it's quiet, it's serene. Man, it just shows that getting out in nature is so important for our mental health, for our decompression, to just take some time every once in a while out of our lives to get out and get away from the craziness, especially if you're someone like us that lives in San Diego. So, I mean, I was just super, super refreshed after coming back from that. I felt great.
Yeah, I mean, plus it was nice. I mean, their family has paddle boards, kayaks, so we were able to get out on the water, and it was also really lovely to know that there were no sea monsters down below.
Yeah, I was talking about all the lake sharks because there's tons of those lake sharks under there. That's just because for anyone listening that doesn't know, I'm terrified of open water. So I try to break my fear by going to swim out in the ocean, and I still haven't done it. Every time I'm just terrified. But out in the lake was so much better. So that was great. And we also went on a hike up there, right over by Mount Rainier. What was the hike called?
The hike was called Tolmy Peak, and it was absolutely beautiful from start to finish. I think it was a little under 6 miles out and back, and we got to pass 2 amazing, crystal clear, beautiful lakes. We ended up diving into one on our walk back, and we also got eaten alive by little baby mosquitoes. I think I have probably 100 bites on my body currently.
Yeah, man, it was a beautiful hike. It was actually kind of challenging. We were a little hungover from the festivities the night before from Sav's B-Day, but it was great. It was a challenging hike. It was beautiful. The only downside was it seemed like the peak time for mosquitoes out there, and we were trying to sit there and enjoy the view, but they were just attacking us so much that we had to keep moving, and we only got really a little relief from the mosquitoes when we were diving in the water. That was mostly at the top of the mountain. Once we got down below, it wasn't too bad. But yeah, overall, great experience there. Just have to nurse our wounds and make sure that we keep applying those little skeeter sticks so that we don't itch as much. But we'll get over it. And then when we got back, we did an awesome hike with our Fit Fam over at Scripps Ranch, and just had to give a shout out to Tara. She is our event coordinator for the gym, but also our best friend. She's amazing. She's got the best heart, and she knows how to plan a party. She's fantastic. So this was supposed to be just kind of like a little get together, walk around the lake and kind of watch sunset, but she put together this scavenger hunt thing where we all had to try to find these certain different items that are all around the lake. It was so fun. So shout out to Tara, and that was a good time.
Yeah, it's crazy. The things that she thinks of, I'm always so impressed. It was find a leaf that's shaped like a heart, find a pine cone, take a photo next to this sign. So just all these really creative things that I truly never would have thought of at all.
Yeah. And then speaking of things that you thought of, week 2 of your Sunshine and Hydration Challenge. How did week 1 go, and what are we looking forward to for week number 2?
Yeah, so week 1, I feel like it was a huge success. So we started slow. We were trying to get some morning sunlight, a minimum of 10 minutes within the first hour of waking up, and also getting in that inner bath, that 12 ounces of water first thing. And it was so fun. I have all of my clients in a little group chat in our Trainer Eyes app, and everyone's sharing their photos of them getting outside, their water. So that was just really fun to see. And then the 17th, the next Monday, that's going to start our week 2, where we're just tweaking those items just a little bit. So if you would like to play along, starting the 17th all the way through that Sunday, we're going to be looking for 10 minutes of afternoon sun, and then getting up to 32 ounces of water by 1 p.m. So just continuing with that hydration, continuing with that daylight, just to help with the flow, help with movement in our body, help with that circadian rhythm. There's so many health benefits, and yeah, I feel like it's going really well. How are you doing in the challenge?
Doing great. Every morning I got a photo sent to the whole team about sitting out in the sunshine on the balcony anytime I'm not coaching in the mornings, which actually this last week we didn't have to coach in the mornings, which was great. And I've got water, also coffee, but I made sure that I drank my water first and then sat out there for about 20 minutes doing my planning and journaling for the day. And yeah, I'm excited to keep it on rolling. I feel great.
Yeah, you're crushing it. Let's keep it up.
Sweet. Let's move on to the wins and the struggles for the last week. I'll go first. My win for this last week, but really it's actually my win for the last couple months. I've been on a pretty good roll these last 2 months with these podcasts. I had a moment in time where things were getting a little busy, and getting the podcast that I try to release on Friday out was kind of going on the wayside, and I kind of felt a little bit bad about that. I was kind of getting on myself about that. But over these past 2 months, been on point, on track, and I think I've gotten some of the best feedback from these episodes as far as quality, and they were entertaining and they were informational, and so super pumped on that. And then also the newsletter that I've been doing every week is just a huge hit. We have people that are loving it. It's a thing that I put together that I really wanted to do because all week I'm listening to podcasts, audiobooks, I'm researching experts, and I'm trying to put together all the information that I learned from all that studying into an easily accessible document that people can access with clickable links to go access the sources. So, for example, I'll have a section on movement, and it'll be a follow-along workout, or it'll be a follow-along yin yoga flow or breath work or something like that. And then I'll have a lifestyle section where it'll be things about like behavior change or how to make a habit or anything like that. And then a nutrition section, which you help with, where we put recipes, and the last week was all about how to make a metabolically healthy salad. This upcoming week, we have 12 different carb-free yogurts that are super good for you and high in protein. So just really cool content. And then all the episode links to podcasts that I think are helpful for our clients and our gym members and all that good stuff. So really excited about how that's evolving, and I actually really enjoy putting it together. So if anyone is interested in getting subscribed to that newsletter, let us know. It's free for the first month and then $5 a month after that. And really that just goes to help us be able to continue to create that kind of content for everyone. So hit us up with your email if you want to be added to that list. Just tell us that you want to be added to the newsletter, and we'd be happy to get you a part of it. My struggle's been more on, I would say, probably the mental health side right now. I just don't feel balanced when it comes to mental health. I feel a little stressed out. There's a lot of stuff going on at work and with the gym, and I don't feel like I'm handling it very well. So my goal here is we had a mini-sode the other day that was all about how to respond to challenging and stressful situations. So I'm just trying to ask myself those 5 questions that can really help a person through hard situations. So my focus this week is when things are not going my way, I really want to, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Or what is this? What's going on? I want to ask these 5 questions. Number 1, what is right about this? Number 2, what gifts or talents do I have right now that can help me with this situation? Number 3, how can I have fun overcoming this obstacle? Number 4, what is it that I can learn from this? That's a huge one. And number 5, what is the gift or blessing in this situation? If I can kind of frame some of my stress around those 5 questions, I think it's going to help me a lot. So that's my struggle. I'll check back in if I'm able to overcome that next week. How about you, Jamie? What are your wins and what are your struggles from last week?
For me, my win was being the very first coach to coach for our sister studio up in La Costa. They just did a whole rebrand and came out with a new program, and day 1 was this past Saturday, and I was the first to go. So very nervous, very nerve-wracking, but also super exciting and very honored that they trusted me to be the first one to lead our members, and it was awesome. The energy was amazing. Both of the sessions were fully maxed out. Obviously, I made a couple little mistakes here and there, and I know that I can improve, but overall, I was very proud of myself and just very proud of the members as well. It was brand new for every single person in that room, and they showed up, they worked hard, they paid attention, they did their best, and it was such an awesome day. The energy was amazing from start to finish. So very proud of that.
Yeah, and you're in a group thread with all the people that were working there and all the coaches and all the staff, and they were just shouting you out. So had to give you a big shout out for that. It was probably a little nerve-wracking. Anything that's new is probably a little bit challenging at first, so congrats on that. I know that it's only going to get better from there.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. We can only continue to go up. I would say my struggle for this last week. So, right, we just got back from our trip from Washington, and I made a point leading up to that trip to not go to the grocery store and get too many veggies that I knew would go bad over the weekend. But when we got back, I did not make the time to go to the grocery store. So this whole week, I wasn't really cooking for us. We were kind of eating out and just eating random different food that we had around the house. And my gut is definitely talking to me because of that. So definitely want to get to the grocery store, get back on track to not only align with my goals, but also just feel better in general. No one wants to go around not feeling their best, especially when it's literally from some of the foods that you eat, and that's something that you can totally control. So just getting back on track with that. I also only worked out one time last week. Again, it's completely on me. I just didn't make time for it. I was just a little stressed out at work, and I just felt like my energy was low, so I didn't want to then go push it even further and hop into a high intense workout. So, it's all about that balance, and so tomorrow's a new day, tomorrow's a new week, and I can just get right back on track.
Awesome. Let's do it. Excited for the new week. Let's move into the questions of the week. We have 3 different questions, one on lifestyle, one on movement and exercise, and one on nutrition. What's our first question?
Question number 1. I am a 48-year-old high school teacher. I'm a highly active individual committed to maintaining my physical fitness. I was an athlete growing up and now continue to lead an active lifestyle. I engage in 4 high-intensity group fitness classes a week. I also play tennis 2 days a week. I get 15,000 plus steps a day. I've been struggling to achieve my desired fat loss goals, and I've been stuck at a body fat percentage of 30% for the past 2 years. Additionally, I experience consistent fatigue, exhaustion, and aches and pains, which are interfering with my overall health and well-being. Why can't I lose this body fat?
All right. So as I was listening to this question, I wrote down a few different bullet points. I wrote down overtraining, ? I wrote down stress management. I wrote down the term hormesis, which we'll talk about in just a second, which I love. And I wrote down supercompensation. So let's talk about the term hormesis. Hormesis is a fascinating concept that suggests that exposure to a low dose of stressor or toxin can actually be beneficial for health or well-being. It's like a use it or lose it principle for our bodies and our cells. And then when we subject ourselves to a mild stress, such as exercise, or a mild stress such as calorie restriction, or even exposure to certain chemicals, this stress can trigger a positive response within our body. And this response involves activating various cellular defense mechanisms, different repair processes, and different adaptive pathways that help our bodies become stronger and more resilient. It's very similar to how our muscles grow stronger when we challenge them with resistance training. Hormesis works on the same principle, but at a cellular and molecular level. In terms of health, Hormesis has been shown to have several positive effects. It can enhance our immune system, it can improve our metabolism, and it can increase our resistance to diseases. Regular exercise, for example, can trigger hormetic responses that can lead to improved cardiovascular health, to improved muscle strength, and to even better cognitive function. When it comes to fitness, Hormesis plays a crucial role as well. By subjecting our bodies to appropriate levels of stress, and the really key word here is appropriate levels of stress, through physical exercise, we can stimulate the growth of muscles, we can improve our endurance, and we can enhance our overall fitness. But the key is to find the right balance between challenging our bodies without overwhelming them. And then in the realm of wellness, Hormesis highlights the importance of maintaining a balanced lifestyle. It suggests that incorporating occasional stressors such as intermittent fasting or even thermoregulation, things like exposure to heat, exposure to cold, well, these things can actually promote overall well-being. These mild stressors can activate cellular repair mechanisms in the body that reduce inflammation and enhance our body's natural detoxification processes. However, it's super important to emphasize that Hormesis is highly dependent on the specific stressor and its intensity. What may be a hormetic stressor for one person could actually be harmful to another. Therefore, it's essential to approach Hormesis under the guidance of experts and coaches. And that is just to ensure that any stressors or interventions are suitable for your specific circumstances. So the TLDR, the too long didn't read version of what is Hormesis, really it's just what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And the poison is in the dose. So if we can stress ourselves just a little bit, our bodies will rebound from that. Speaking of rebound, the other word that I wrote down was supercompensation. And these are two of my favorite terms when it comes to health, wellness, fitness. The concept of supercompensation, it is very closely tied to Hormesis, particularly when we're discussing health, fitness, and wellness. Supercompensation refers to the body's ability to adapt and improve in response to a stress or training stimuli. Sounds very similar, right? But check this out. If we challenge our bodies through exercise or other stressors, there's going to be an initial dip in performance or well-being. And I like to show this as if you were to draw the effects of exercise or any other stressor on an XY graph. So you have your x-axis being the horizontal axis, the left to right, and then you have the y-axis being the up and down axis, the vertical axis. If you draw the effects of exercise, you would see that x-axis horizontal line, exercise would make your performance go down. It would actually dip. You would leave the exercise room, the workout, whatever it is, you would leave worse off than when you started, right? But supercompensation is the rebound past the x-axis after the dip and actually supercompensates higher than when it started. So after a period of recovery, the body is going to rebound and reach a higher level of fitness or a higher level of health or whatever the case may be before the stressor was applied. This phenomenon is known as supercompensation. Let's use another example that we're all used to. If you're listening to this podcast, you've heard it before. For example, strength training. When we engage in strength training, we stress our muscles by lifting those weights. This stress initially leads to muscle fatigue and actual micro-muscular tear damage. However, during the recovery period, the body repairs and rebuilds the muscle fibers, making them stronger and more resistant to repeated future stressors. This is actually called the repeated bout effect. This process of supercompensation results in increased muscle strength and increased muscle size. This is going to improve our overall fitness from before we lifted the weights. But in order for us to do that, we actually had to see that dip in performance, that dip in our overall muscular health. Similarly, in the realm of wellness, supercompensation can occur when we expose ourselves to mild stressors that activate cellular repair and adaptation pathways. What does that mean? For instance, intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting involves voluntary abstaining from food for a specific period. And during that fasting period, the body experiences a mild stress. It thinks that it's not getting food. It thinks that it's going to starve, which triggers hormonal and metabolic changes. And as the body adapts to this stress and we enter the recovery phase, it then undergoes processes that promote cellular repair. This is also called autophagy. This can also improve insulin sensitivity, and this can also enhance our metabolic flexibility. So, supercompensation, this effect can lead to improved health, weight management, and overall wellness when it comes to the example of intermittent fasting. Now, why in the heck am I talking about hormesis and supercompensation and all this physiologic mumbo jumbo when this person just said that they exercise and they get a lot of movement and they're just stuck at a body fat loss goal? Well, It's because of the first thing that I wrote down, overtraining. This person wrote down that they take 4 high-intensity group fitness classes. They also play tennis 2 other days a week, which is high intensity. They get over 15,000 steps a day. And the very end, it said, additionally, I experience consistent fatigue, exhaustion, and aches and pains, which are interfering with my overall health and well-being. Let's quickly go over some signs of overtraining. Symptoms of overtraining can include persistent fatigue, decreased performance, prolonged muscle soreness, mood disturbances, frequent illnesses, and disrupted sleep patterns. It's so crucial to listen to your body and identify these signs early on to prevent even further negative effects and to keep yourself from grinding yourself into the ground. A lot of those things that I just read off sound like what she's experiencing in this question. So my first thought is if we can maybe help her with overtraining, some of the other things might fall in place. What are some things that you could do if you're overtraining? Well, first you should allow for proper recovery. Just like we were talking about in hormesis, just like supercompensation, you have that stress to the body, which causes a dip, and then you allow the time period of recovery for your body to rebound from. If you stress your body, and then before you give your body the time to allow it to recover and rebound, you stress it again and you stress it again. If you were to graph this person's stressors on that XY graph, they're going to hit that first time of stressing the body and the dip happens negative to the x-axis, and then they stress it again, and it's just going to keep going negative and negative and negative, and she's just going to drive herself into the ground. So allowing for proper recovery, super important here. How would she do this? Well, this is going to include ensuring sufficient sleep. So setting up the sleep sanctuary, getting a sleep routine, making sure that they get the sunlight on their eyes in the morning, doing Jamie's hydration and sunshine challenge. Those are huge ways to do it. Incorporating active recovery activities like light stretching or yin yoga at night, or low intensity activities like walking, walks in the park, walks on the beach, maybe a light hike if it's not too stressful. And then, of course, allowing for rest days within your training schedule. If you have it on your training schedule to exercise 6 days a week and day 2, you're feeling these symptoms, then maybe day 3 needs to be a recovery day instead of that planned high intensity class that you were going to take. You have to listen to your body here. Otherwise, you're going to be doing more damage than good. You're going to be taking yourself away from your goals, which is where one of the only times I can think of that consistency might hurt you in the long run. But let's table that. Next, we would want to adjust the training intensity and volume. So overtraining often results from excessive training intensity or volume without sufficient recovery. So to address this, we would consider reducing the intensity of some of her workouts and or the volume of the workouts that she's doing. That just means how many sets and reps and the weight that she's using. We would have to reduce that temporarily. And this can involve lowering the weights that she's using and reducing the number of sets or repetitions. It could also involve modifying the duration of the workouts. So instead of the full 60 minutes, maybe she drops some to 15 minutes and just does it and then is in and out and takes the rest of that time that she had dedicated to her workout to more low intensity stuff. Something that's more rejuvenating, maybe meditation, breath work, sitting in a hot tub or sitting in a sauna, something like that. Just making sure that the intensity is dropped if she starts to feel these symptoms. That's going to be a really big one. Next, I would maybe incorporate a deload week for this person. Honestly, most people don't need deload weeks, and that's pretty much because life has built-in deload weeks. We go on these rolls where we're really, really dialed in, where we got our workouts a couple months in a row, and then a holiday hits or a celebration hits or a busy time at work hits, and those are going to be time periods where you kind of fall off a little bit, and that is a unplanned deload week. But for this person, that seems to be very consistent. That's probably overtraining. That's doing a lot of damage to their body, which if recovered from it could be a good damage. But this person sounds like it's not quite that. Incorporating in a deload week where they drop the intensity or they even take the week off just to do active recovery things, that could be really, really beneficial for this person. So consider implementing maybe a deload week every 4 to 6 weeks for a week. in order to recover from all that high intensity stuff that you're doing. You can decrease your training volume, lower your weights, and focus on active recovery activities. The next thing that I would do is I would monitor and adjust the nutrition. So proper nutrition is going to be crucial for supporting any fat loss goals that someone has. Also muscle retention and also strength gain. If your nutrition is not dialed in, a lot of this damage, this stress that you're doing to your body, where is your body going to be getting the building blocks to recover from all that stress? You want to ensure that you're consuming adequate amount of calories. If you also undereat and you overstress your body, this could be a really, really damaging thing in the long run. We want to make sure that you're getting macronutrients, the protein amount that you need, and then the carbs and the fats, of course, to fuel your activity that you're going to be doing. And then, of course, the micronutrients from your food, the fruits, the vegetables, all that good stuff that you're going to need to support your goals. Make sure that those are dialed in. If fat loss is a priority, you got to ensure that you are in a slight calorie deficit, but you also have to still make sure that you're meeting your nutritional needs. And that's a very hard thing to do if you're not tracking, if you're new to this. And that's where professional guidance can really help you. Getting someone that's done this with tons of people, getting someone that has studied this topic, it's so important to be able to get someone to help guide you at the start of this journey so that you're not just throwing darts in the dark, not knowing where you're going, and then having to struggle with all these failures and obstacles and probably not necessary if you were to get someone to help you when you first start this thing. So those are kind of some of the things that I would do to help with the overtraining portion of this question. Other things that I would do for this person is I would talk about how to dial in the other pillars of health. So what's really challenging about this question is that this person is so dialed in on their movement and they've been doing this for so long and it's a part of their life that they're probably doing what I do and they're using exercise as a vice to cope with other emotions in their life. And taking this away from someone is a really hard thing to do. So maybe we do let them go a little bit hard on their movement pillar, but just make sure that they get their other pillars of health dialed in so that it can help support that excess stress. So of course, your sleep and the recovery pillar is going to be so important to dial in, making sure that they get that. Their stress management, teaching them breathwork practices, maybe after their high intensity workouts, teaching them a 5-minute breath work that can downregulate their nervous system quickly so that they don't stay in that fight or flight, high intense sympathetic state in order to make that body want to start recovering as quickly as possible. That could be a great hack. Teaching them how to manage their stress in ways of getting outside, getting in nature, spending some time looking in the panoramic view, really important there. And then also, obviously, their diet, getting their diet locked in. If they can get these other big pillars of stress dialed in, maybe we can let them go just a little bit ham on the movement pillar. And then this is where I love the Aura Ring. The Aura Ring, or even like the Whoop Strap. I'm pretty sure that iWatch does the same thing, but some sort of like recovery tracker where it measures your sleep, it measures your physical activity, it measures your heart rate variability, which is how well your body copes with stress, and it gives you a readiness score. Obviously, these trackers aren't 100% accurate, but it will give this person just a little bit more insight as to when should they take their days and be a little bit more mellow. When is their body feeling so overstressed that the numbers are incontrovertible? It's just right there staring at you saying, dude, take a break. That's when I really like these trackers. So I would maybe recommend them investing in something like that. But yeah, I mean, both you, Jamie, and I have had clients just like this. What is something that you've seen success with in a person like this?
Yeah, I love this question and I really feel for this human. I get it. And because right now, a couple of my clients are dealing with this where they are just constantly overtraining. And I'm working with them on the mindset side to realize that when I'm asking them to eliminate 2 of those high intensity workouts and replace them with lower intensity workouts, it's not that I'm saying you can't move your body. I still want you to move every day, but we just need to shift that intensity and your body is going to love it so much more. And just think, when you are in that fight or flight all the time, right? That means we have cortisol super, super high in our body, and that is completely messing up our hormones. So even if this person was doing everything else perfectly, their sleep was dialed in, their nutrition was amazing, if they are still constantly in this state, they will never see results and their body will not respond while all this crazy stress is still on their body from these high intensity workouts. So I know that's super hard, but the de-stress is a really big thing that I would focus on, adding in the breath work multiple times a day or working with that person individually, finding out things that they enjoy to do that they can truly add into their routine, just to find small pockets, multiple little pockets all throughout the day to kind of just recenter and move back into that parasympathetic state. It truly is so important. I don't think people realize how much the stress can really hold you back from your goals, but that would be the biggest place that I would start first with this person.
Great advice. Let's move on to question number 2, the exercise and movement question.
Boom. Okay, so question number 2. What are the benefits of cardio?
Let's go. Okay, so cardio. Cardiovascular training. This is also known as aerobic exercise with oxygen. This offers a wide range of benefits for both physical and mental health. So here are some key advantages of incorporating cardiovascular training, cardio, into your fitness routine. Number 1, improved heart health. Cardiovascular training strengthens your heart muscles, your vascular system. It just makes it more efficient at pumping blood throughout your body. This reduces the risk of heart disease, it lowers blood pressure, and it improves overall cardiovascular function. Number 2, it increases your stamina, it increases your endurance. Regular cardiovascular exercise improves your lung capacity and your oxygen efficiency, your VO2 max. This allows your body to deliver oxygen-rich blood to your muscles and to your cells more effectively. And this leads to an increased stamina endurance for you, making everyday activities easier and enhancing athletic performance. Number 3, it does help with weight management, but there's a little caveat here that we'll talk about. Cardio training is an effective way to burn calories and aid in weight loss or weight maintenance. Engaging in activities like running, cycling, swimming, this can all increase your calorie expenditure, your total daily energy expenditure. It can increase that, and it can help you to create a calorie deficit, which is necessary for fat loss, being in a calorie deficit. However, if cardio is the only thing you do for weight management, you can run into some pretty big errors here. We'll talk about that in just a second. Number 4, enhanced metabolic health. Cardio exercises stimulate your metabolism. This leads to increased calorie burning not only during the workout, but also after. EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, the afterburn. This metabolic boost can help regulate blood sugar levels. It can help improve insulin sensitivity, which is something that we really struggle with in this society where we eat a bunch of excess sugary calories. And also it can contribute to better overall metabolic health just overall. Number 5 is reduce the risk of chronic diseases. Regular cardiovascular training has been associated with a decreased risk of various chronic conditions, and this includes type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, stroke, and metabolic syndrome. Number 6, increased mental well-being. And this is one of the bigger ones. Engaging in aerobic exercises releases endorphins, the feel-good hormones. This can help reduce stress, reduce anxiety, and reduce symptoms of depression. Cardiovascular training also enhances your cognitive function, your memory, and improves your sleep quality, promoting just overall great mental well-being. Number 7, it helps to increase your bone density to a certain point. Any weight-bearing cardiovascular activities such as running or jumping, all these can help to improve your bone density. And this is going to reduce the risk of osteoporosis, especially when combined with strength training exercises, which is huge. Having a combination of strength training and cardio can help you increase your bone density. Number 8, you get better sleep. Regular cardio exercise can promote better sleep quality by helping you fall asleep faster and experience deeper sleep. However, it's recommended to avoid vigorous cardio workouts too close to bedtime. This is going to have a negative effect. It's going to give you a little bit more energy as you are going into your sleep stages if you do it close to bedtime. So if you have your high intensity exercise, you're going to want to kind of take that a little bit further away from when you go to sleep. Number 9, enhanced energy levels. Cardio training boosts your energy levels by increasing blood flow and oxygen delivery to your muscles and organs. Over time, regular cardio exercise can result in improved energy levels and reduced feelings of fatigue. And then the last one that I had on my list is improved overall fitness. Cardio training contributes to your overall physical fitness just by improving your cardio endurance, your strength, your flexibility, your coordination. And it also enhances your ability to perform daily activities and participate in any kind of activities or sports or recreational things that you have in your everyday lives. So those are some really great benefits of cardio. So that begs the question, what are the different types of cardio training that you can do and implement into your everyday life? Well, a very common form of cardio is called steady state cardio. Steady state cardio involves maintaining a consistent, moderate intensity for an extended period of time. A consistent and moderate intensity for an extended period of time. And it typically involves activities like jogging or cycling or swimming at a steady pace. Steady state cardio helps improve cardio endurance and is very effective at burning calories in the moment. It's one of the most efficient exercises that you can do for burning calories in that moment. A super popular form of cardio right now is called high intensity interval training or HIIT training. And HIIT involves alternating short bursts of intense exercise with periods of rest or low intensity exercise. For example, sprinting for 30 seconds, followed by a nice 1-minute walk or jog, and then repeating that cycle. HIIT workouts are known to be time efficient and effective for improving cardiovascular fitness. They're good for increasing calorie burn and for promoting fat loss if done correctly. There's also zone training, and this was made pretty popular by Peter Attia in the mainstream media right now. He's like talking all about zone 2 cardio, but zone training involves training with a specific heart rate zone to achieve whatever specific fitness goal you have. And the most common zone training approach is based on the percentage of your maximum heart rate. And a lot of these group fitness places out there, they also do zone training based on your max heart rate percentage. So there's 5 different zones. Zone 1 is very light intensity, 50 to 60% of your max heart rate. And this is more for warm up and recovery type training. Zone 2, moderate intensity. This is anywhere between 60 and 70% of your max heart rate. And this is used for aerobic endurance and fat burning. When you get into zone 2, you can hold a conversation without gasping for air, but you really don't want to hold a conversation. If someone was to come and talk to you while you were doing zone 2 training on a treadmill or on a bike, you could get the sentence out, but you probably wouldn't want to talk to them for very much. Now, if you're someone that's gasping after every word, that's going to be up into zone 3, 4, and 5, vigorous intensity. So anywhere between 70 to 80, up to 80, 90, even up to 100%, you have zone 3, 4, and 5. And this is for high intensity interval training. Great for performance improvement, great for maximum performance and aerobic training. It's important to hit zone 3, 4, and 5 every once in a while throughout the week, but you don't want to overdo it when it comes to those zones. Zone 2, you could do zone 2 for a couple hours per week and get a ton of benefits. That's why I love rucking, which is hiking with a backpack that has a little bit of weight in it so that you are kind of challenging your cardiovascular system, but you can still hold a conversation, but you get a ton of benefits when it comes to zone 2 training. So highly recommend looking into zone 2 training with Dr. Peter Attia. He will explain it way more in depth. He has tons of podcast episodes on that. Other forms of cardio training are fartlek training, which fartlek training has a crazy name, but it is Swedish and it means speed play. Speed play. This involves alternating between various intensities during a workout. Fartlek training is actually a really highly adaptable and enjoyable way to train. It can simulate real life sport conditions. Also, I've used this with clients that are training for a half marathon or for a big long distance effort. And what you do is you take that long distance effort pace that you want to hold, and you take it into smaller blocks and you start to increase that pace in a smaller block of distance so that you can train your body to be ready when the big race comes. You can extrapolate it to this longer distance. So if I'm training for a half marathon, a 13-mile run, I would do my 1-mile run at a slightly higher, faster pace so that I can get used to it. And I would do that mile run repeated over a couple of rounds. So I'm not running the full 13 miles that I'm training for, but I'm getting it into smaller blocks and I'm bringing my ability up to a little bit faster than what I'm used to so that I can get used to it, which is a really, really great training style to be able to save the miles on your body, but also get you into a good condition and ready for the speed that you want to bring during your big race. So fartlek training is a great strategy as well. You could do circuit training. While primarily this is a strength training method, circuit training can also incorporate cardiovascular elements. It involves performing a series of exercises with little to no rest in between, targeting different muscle groups. So you're going from one thing to the next, circuiting it. Circuit training can be a great strategy. And then also there's another thing called cross training. Cross training involves participating in a variety of activities or exercises to enhance your overall fitness. You could combine different cardio exercises like cycling, swimming, running, or even rowing, or put them all together. So people that train for triathlon sprints would be participating in cross training. And this could prevent boredom, and this could also reduce the risk of overuse injuries that steady state cardio has. When you do a steady state activity for months and years on end, you're doing the same repetitive movement, and your biomechanics is going to slowly start to break down if you have any deficiencies in your form. So that's where I don't love steady state cardio, and that's where I do love cross training, being able to mix in all these different modalities that are going to help you work on your cardio endurance, but not go into that risk of overuse injury. So that's just a small list of some forms of cardio training. There's a bunch more, but let's go over some downsides of cardio training, because you can definitely overdo this, especially when you start to feel those feel-good endorphins coming. You can definitely do this way too much, and it's going to take you away from your goals. And especially if you're strictly using cardio for fat loss goals. So let's go over some downsides. Doing cardio can increase your appetite. Intense cardio exercise can stimulate hunger and increase your appetite, and this may lead to overeating or consuming more calories than you burned during your workout. It's so much easier to eat 300 calories of a Snickers than run 300 calories on a treadmill. This is going to hinder your fat loss goals. This is going to hurt your body recomposition efforts. It's essential to maintain a balanced diet and be mindful of your calorie intake, even when you know that this cardio training might increase your appetite. Number 2 is the big one, muscle loss. Excessive cardio training, especially combined with a calorie deficit, which is what most people do when they're going on a diet to lose weight, they increase their cardio, they decrease their calories. This can potentially, and usually does, lead to muscle loss. Your body's going to break down that valuable, expensive muscle tissue for energy if it perceives a shortage of calories or nutrients. And to minimize this muscle loss, it's crucial to incorporate resistance training into your routine to stimulate muscle growth and maintenance. So this is a big thing. If you're going to increase your cardio, it's important that you pair it with resistance training and heavy lifting in order to keep your muscle. You also have plateau effects, which what that means is over time, your body may adapt to the cardio exercise that you perform regularly. This is going to lead to a decrease in effectiveness. You see those people that go to the gym and maybe they had some success the first couple of months, but now they've been coming to the gym and they've been here for the last year and it looks like their body hasn't changed yet. How are they spending an hour on that stair stepper? How are they spending 5 days a week on that treadmill? It's because their body is plateauing and it's getting used to that activity that they consistently do. Your body is going to adapt. To overcome plateaus, consider varying the workouts by changing the intensity, by changing the duration, or by changing the type of cardio that you engage in. So try not to get into one modality for long periods of time because you will plateau. You will also see increased stress on your joints. Certain types of cardio exercise, such as running or high impact activities, this can put significant stress on your joints, particularly your knees, your ankles. This is going to lead to overuse injuries, joint discomfort, especially if you already have existing joint issues and you don't eat very properly. If your diet is off, if you have a high inflammatory diet, if you're someone that stresses a lot and doesn't give yourself time for stress management, all of this stuff can have an impact on your joints. So incorporating low impact cardio exercises like swimming or cycling or even rowing can be beneficial to reduce the stress on your joints. You also have to think about the time commitment. Depending on the type of cardio that you do and the duration of cardio that you're going to do, fitting this into your schedule could be very time consuming. This may make it challenging to balance cardio training with other important activities or responsibilities in your life. And that just means that if it's going to be a challenge and it's not going to be easy and you kind of dread doing it, it's going to be hard for you to stay consistent with it. And that is where your results are going to come from. So planning your workouts in advance or considering time efficient options like HIIT training, as long as it's at the right intensity and recovered from properly, this could help you overcome the time commitment challenge. And then the last thing that I wrote was it does have a potential for burnout. So excessive or intense cardio training without sufficient rest and recovery can lead to burnout, both physically and mentally. Overtraining can negatively impact your overall well-being, it can hinder your progress, and it can increase your risk of injury. So it's just crucial to listen to your body and allow for proper recovery periods and balance your cardio workouts with other forms of resistance training, exercise, and of course, rest. And there's a lot more we could really talk about on cardio, but let's leave it at that for now. And let's move on to the third and final question when it comes to our nutrition for today. What's our third question?
Question number 3. I know protein is so important, and when I eat at home, I can get my protein goal in pretty well. But when I go out, I'm having a hard time tracking and selecting foods to help me hit my goal. I usually fall short on the weekends, which takes my weekly average below what I need. Any advice?
Nice. Great question. Very, very common. What would you say to this answer, Jamie?
Yeah, I love this one. So, right, especially right now, it's summer, people are going out more, we're just being a little bit more social, and that's what happens. On the weekends, we are out and it's harder to track. But a couple little hacks for you here when you are going out. Try to underestimate your amount of protein that you're having in that meal. So when you're tracking it, put in a little less than probably what you think. And on the other end, you want to overestimate your calories of the total meal. That's because when we're eating out, restaurants are using extra oils, extra salts, extra things that we just don't know that is actually going into the food. So underestimate the protein, overestimate the total calories, and then I'm not going to say just go for the salad. I feel like that's what everyone thinks when they're trying to eat healthy. Just always order a salad or order a side of veggies. No, order that main dish. Like go for the chicken dish, go for the steak, go for the salmon, the ahi, whatever it is, because those meals are usually already pretty well balanced. They come with a big serving size of a protein. They come with a side veggie and a carb, right? Carbs are not bad. You're allowed to eat those as well, but just doing it in a more well-rounded plate. So don't be afraid to go right in and get an actual full meal when you are eating out with your friends. Say you end up going to a burger joint or a pizza parlor with your family. Start with a salad in those situations. And if you order the burger, this is what I do all the time. Having a burger and fries is one of my favorite meals when we're out. No, I do not eat it every day, but probably once every 2 weeks. But eat the burger first. Maybe you ask for an extra patty and go double. That's the protein. The fries aren't really giving you anything of nutritional value. They just taste delicious. So put those aside. You could even substitute that side for a veggie or a salad, whatever it is. But just reminder, you are allowed to have those big meals when you're eating out. Just be smart about it and get that well-rounded plate.
Great advice. Great advice. And this is where if you are struggling to get your protein in and you end up going out and you're not going to get enough protein, supplementation, get a good whey protein in maybe the next day, get a good boost on your protein early and just make up for it in another day. Some days you're going to hit it, some days you're not going to hit it. Stop stressing about hitting it and just think of it as a game. This is what I got this week. How can I beat myself next week? How can I get closer to my goal next week? What is the game plan? Write it down. Find out the foods that really work for you. Make sure that you understand the foods that may be great in protein but are just not going to work with your diet or your preferences. And just play the game. Trial and error. You're going to get it one day. The only way you're not going to get it is if you quit. So just make sure that you give your best shot, play the game, have fun, look at it with a little bit of competitiveness when it comes to yourself, and you're going to hit it one day. You got this. Protein. Stop stressing about it. It'll come. And that's it for the questions for the day. We're going to move on to our recommendation. And this week, our recommendation is Dr. Rangan Chatterjee. He is the host of the Feel Better, Live More podcast. Dr. Chatterjee has such great content. He's a British physician. He's an author. He's a television presenter and podcaster. And he's best known for the TV show Doctor in the House. I follow his podcast, which I absolutely love. I also definitely recommend his newest book, Happy Mind, Happy Life. He also wrote Feel Better in 5, which was fantastic. And he has a great newsletter. His newsletter is called the Friday 5 newsletter, which has some great stuff in it as well. Check out Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, and that's spelled Rangan. Chatterjee is spelled Chatterjee. And all of his content will be linked in the description of this episode. And we're going to leave you with a quote that we loved this week. The quote says, "Give yourself permission to unplug and regroup without feeling guilty. You can't be there for others if you don't take care of yourself first. Give yourself permission to unplug and regroup without feeling guilty." Amen to that. I hope you get some time this week to, yes, work hard, but also to unplug, regroup. Don't feel guilty about it. Find that balance and have a great week. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for listening and learning here with us on the Living the Dream podcast. We are so grateful for you being a part of this lifelong learning journey. If you have any topics you'd like to discuss, please let us know in the comments or by messaging me on Instagram at CoachDamien_SD. Be kind to someone today, smile at someone today, and leave every person you come into contact with better than before. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.